Queen P.R, Krista B, those wrestling girls, TWG, Black Excellence, making it effortless, podcast bringing up women in wrestling. Let's go.
Hey girl, hey.
Hey.
Yo, it's been a minute since we heard that.
I know.
It's been such a long time since we've heard that. How are you feeling?
I'm good.
That's good. You look good.
Thank
look
you.
refreshed.
Thank you. I hope I look a little slimmer soon because I lost some weight. I've been in the gym. Yes. Like this shirt was a little tight. I haven't worn it in a while. And I was like, I put it on today and I was like, oh, I got a little room.
Come on, looseness. We love that. How things been? So it's been a while since we've been up here. It's been a while since we've done a spotlight episode. And this spotlight episode is much different from the ones that we've been doing before, because this one is also tailored around something that's near and dear to us because it affects a special friend of ours, not even a friend, a family member of ours, of the TWG family. So for those of you who don't know, November is Crohn's Disease Awareness Month. And ever since I've heard about what it was, it touched me in a way. Like I want to get the awareness out there. I want to get, people talking about this disease and about how it can affect your daily life, and also about how you can combat it to where it doesn't affect you in negative ways. And I first heard about this disease when I was working at a shelter, and one of my clients had it. And I remember one day she couldn't get up to, open the door for me to do like a room inspection. And then when she was able to, she finally came out and apologized. And she was like, oh, I have this. And, I'm not, being insubordinate or anything like that. And I didn't know what it was, but it's not like it was unfamiliar. I was very unfamiliar with it at the time. But then it came up again recently. And it touched me more because, again, this person is very, very close to us. So not only is this a spotlight on the person, but it's also a spotlight and an awareness episode. So without further ado, please let us bring up Big Swole. Hey.
Hey, y'all. How y'all doing?
Girl.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Thank you for joining us for this episode.
Of course. You said Crohn's disease, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, so especially because most people know you as a wrestler, so it's very admirable your resilience. So I can't wait to hear about how you dealt with that being an athlete.
Yeah. Because now it's more of like there are other athletes who are going through with them. And I was trying to pitch the story to write about. There's a basketball player on WNBA who's going through it and how she's like, I'm not letting this affect me. And there's this other athlete that I was in touch with, and he was like, I'm not gonna let this affect me. Let me know when you get this pitch to prove, and I'll be willing to talk to you about it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like it's not as common as people will think it is, but you would be surprised by how many people are suffering from it.
Yeah. It's definitely more rampant now than it was before.
Yeah.
You hear a lot more cases now of Crohn's disease than you've ever had of in the past.
So before we get into, your diagnosis and when you find out, we're gonna get the fun stuff out the way. We're gonna get the regular, how did you get into wrestling and everything out of the way first.
Yeah. Or I say, because it's my first time here.
Yes.
Long overdue. How many times have we kikied in the back of somewhere?
Right? No, like literally. I love that.
Yeah.
Seriously. And it was like, oh man, what happened? Like, how can we never? So now we have to get that all out of the way. First of all, the first question we usually ask is, are you Team Rock or Team Austin? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm leaving.
It's that hard sometimes.
No,
but I know you're gonna pick the right answer.
Okay. So I loved me some Austin, but The Rock was just too fine to not pick So I'm Team Rock.
See,
and my mom was a huge Rock fan. I was just talking to her about this recently because we don't. She's not really. She would watch it when we watched it, like in the 90s and stuff like that. But she always remember the Rock making her laugh, and she would always be like, "Oh, those Versace shirts," and he was black, like he was the one guy. So
right,
right,
like
you chose the right answer.
Right, like in Austin, like my mom loves Austin. She was like, "Oh, that's a good looking white man."
Oh,
I mean,
that's
she's
one thing I never thirsted over Austin.
It's the ball with the
it's the badassness too. It's like he don't give a fuck.
It's the attitude.
Yeah, he's the epitome of attitude era. Like you can't not have attitude era without Austin. But you're right, Pete. She picked the right answer. This is why me and Swole here. Okay. Okay.
We are here.
Right.
So
how did you get into wrestling? Like, did you grow up watching it?
Did you mention your mom? I'm like, did you watch it with her?
I did. I grew up watching it. It was always on the big screen with my ex stepdaddy. He would have it. We would go to my Uncle Artist's house and we would just watch and watch. And then being in Clearwater, I was always around wrestlers. Didn't even notice it, but until I just started randomly seeing them everywhere. Like Macho Man to be down in Bel Air, God rest his soul. Thou Shall Not Be Named, lived up the street. And it was just wrestling everywhere in Clearwater and in that Tampa.
It was just area. Like you had to get some piece of it one way or
another. Had to. It was literally everywhere.
So did you watch everything like WWF, WCW? Okay.
I watched it all. I'm talking about flicking back and forth between channels, like trying not to miss anything. That was the household.
Oh, okay. So I love that. So what's your first memory of wrestling? Like, I want to know what's your era?
My first, I guess the thing that stuck with me is that it was a glacier match, and I was real heavy into Killer Instinct, playing it on Super Nintendo. And I was like, oh, he reminds me of the character.
Yeah.
I was like, he reminds me of the characters from the video game. So I was just like, I gotta watch this. Like, this is crazy. I was already watching it beforehand, but just his interest in the whole theatrics of it, I was just like, that's cool.
Do you think that? I mean, we're in a time period now where wrestling doesn't need theatrics sometimes. Like, you don't need any of that. But do you think is pertinent at some moments where we could bring some of those theatrical settings back?
Absolutely. But I feel like it just takes the right kind of package, right kind of person. It takes a lot of creativity to know who you are and what you need to be doing in this business. And that comes all the way down to your charisma, which of course comes down to your upbringing and who you're around in college and stuff, your influences and your experiences in life. So we could have those larger than life characters back. They just have to believe in themselves and in order to do it.
Yeah, that is so true.
And also have the backing.
It's everybody gotta meet each other there.
They call them these,
Yes, and it sucks too because it's like how many good gimmicks, I guess you want to say, that we've seen over the years, and it's just like, if you guys just focused on that or gave it a little bit more time, like y'all be printing money.
Right. Because they're Attitude Era, I feel like was although it wasn't gimmicky, you knew that there was a gimmick. Like Undertaker. Am I allowed to mention Undertaker? Because we know.
You know what? I had a shirt that I was gonna wear, and then I was like, oh
my god, that's the second time.
I don't know if I could wear
that
it.
happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pablo had an Undertaker shirt on it, and they were like, "Should I take this?" Oh, this is I don't know.
All right, no, so for wrestling's sake, we're gonna say Undertaker because when we grew up Undertaker, he ain't speak much.
Exactly. I know that is a dead man.
Right.
And that's all I know. He got a brother that's also maybe dead. I don't know. That's
he's from the Inferno. He's from the Inferno.
So for wrestling's sake on this podcast, we can say Undertaker. We won't say the government name.
If his eyes ain't rolling in the back of his head and tongue ain't out, that ain't fake.
Right. Well, his eyes rolling on
Sure.
this one, but his tongue ain't out, but his eyes is
See,
rolling.
there
That's
it is.
yep. There we
That's
go.
it.
That's
So
taken
That's
right
what
this
we
there.
one right here,
acknowledge.
Well,
That's
we
what
knew
look,
we
that he was in
acknowledge.
gimmick.
let me point this way so people can see. Because I'm over here like, yeah, right there.
But
That's
I
the one.
mean,
But
this way.
right there.
Her
So
right
yeah, we knew that Taker, he carried that gimmick. He carried that gimmick for like 20
He did.
years until he broke character, and it was just like, and I love how he was able to evolve his gimmick. He went from Dead Man to American Badass, back to Dead Man, and it was just like any version gimmick wise we got is soul. Like it was part of his charisma, it was part of his character. Mick
Yep.
Foley was another one. 3 faces of Mick Foley.
And Bray Wyatt, God bless him.
Yeah.
Rest his soul
Yes.
as well.
He was so good at
Just,
capturing like the essence of a character where it's like, wait, am I watching a movie? Like,
just his mind, his creative mind, his mindset, how he thinks about stuff, dissects it, and just has this whole plan about his character and the movements of it and how you incorporate other little pieces. I'm like, dude's a genius.
Yeah, I still can't even talk about it. I can't even think about it.
It's very unbelievable.
Unbelievable. It's just like, this is a bad joke. Stop playing now. Like, let's go. But speaking of gimmicks and characters, how did you when you first started wrestling, did you automatically know that you was going to be Big Swole or that you wanted to incorporate Big Swole in your name?
No, I think I went back and forth between two names. I started as Chris Kelly, and then I went to Ariel Monroe. It was like a Facebook post, and I think Adrian. I think, yeah, one of my friends, Adrian, he told me, hey, oh no, you should go by Ariel Monroe. And then that kind of just took off until Swole came in later.
Ariel Monroe's
So were you
like a 50s pinup.
It does.
Real sexy.
So
Real sexy.
was that like a character that was you, or was it more like a gimmick, or were you
No,
just training and that was your name that you went
it
under?
was literally just me.
Okay.
It was literally anybody who would like sit me down and talk to me. They would tell me that all you have to do is turn yourself up to 1,000%. So, I can't remember right now, but it was, man, what's that guy from Men on a Mission? Oh, dang. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I was about to say Tom Cruise.
Look,
It was not it.
sorry to that man, but he was, listen, he in my career, he would talk to me. This is back when I was like a manager of Spencer's. We'd be on the phone, and he would talk to me about character and about gimmick and how to separate myself in this business. And he's like, you already have a personality. And this is just when he met me when I was taking tickets for WrestleCon.
Wow.
He was like, are you wrestling? And I was like, oh no, I'm just training. I'm thinking about getting into it. And he was like, no, I think you should. Here's my number. You need to call me. It's like, so we can fish this out. And so he would talk to me and just, kind of help me lead the way. He's like, you don't need anything else except for yourself.
And we've, obviously watched you perform in so many different places, and you have something that's very captivating. We want to, watch you perform. So I'm curious of like when you got the bug, because I know you watched wrestling, but when did you realize like, okay, I think I want to do this?
When Cedric and I started dating, I really just prayed on it because I had this list when I was younger, and I was like, oh, I want to do all these things, and this is what I'm going to do with my life. And wrestling was like the last thing on the list. So I was like, I'm in a position where I can do this. We had no children at the time. And I was like, I want to wrestle. And then I got pregnant. So it was like, y'all was like, hey, I'm going to give you these 9 months and you decide whether or not this is something that you want to do. And it was still on my heart and on my soul when Odessa was born. So I was just like, no, I'm doing this. So I gave myself 8 months, just to get her together, get her weaned off and stuff like that, and get my body back into some semblance of a shape. And then I started.
So when
I love that.
So when like I see like a lot of wrestling moms now, they haven't been back yet because it's like they're, they want to be with their baby. They want to know, they want to have that time with them. You have other moms like Becky Lynch who takes her daughter on the road, or who took her daughter on the road with her anywhere. that she went. Was that the same situation with you? Same story with you when you first had your daughter?
Absolutely. I wanted to be home with her all the time, but we couldn't afford that. You know, I feel like we're kind of sort of pioneers in that aspect of having a child and both being on the indies. You know, something that necessarily wasn't, you know, heard of back in our day of indie time. So it was tough, but we had to get out there and grind. You know, because some days we were playing rock paper scissors on who's going to eat. You know,
Oh
and
my God. Thank you. That's the hustle right there.
Yeah, like we were surviving off of WIC food stamps, you know, just just trying to get by. And sometimes I would have to take Odessa with me on trips. You know, sometimes she would have to, you know, carry the bags. There's actually there's actually a photo of Odessa, well, a photo and a video of Odessa carrying Leva Bates her bags and leave us yelling at her like, you gotta earn your keep, newbie.
That's so cute.
Right. So we and it's literally, the show is, we didn't know it was at this bar. So it's literally in the back of this bar, and I'm just like, you know, that moment where you're just like, you're still a good parent. You're still a good parent.
Right.
You know,
I'm doing the right thing.
Right. It's still the right thing. But, you know, I had to take her during this trip, but, you know, we had to make a lot of different and difficult sacrifices in order to make it happen. We just had to keep the faith that things were going to work out for us, even when times it didn't seem like it was.
Yeah. So do you see, like, we met her at Royal Rumble, and she was just so enamored with like all of them. I don't even know who was more hype, me, you, Tasha, or your child. Like, I don't know who was more hype. I think it was all four of us combined. But
Right.
do you talk to her about, like, does she wants to pursue wrestling just like you and Cedric?
She does. She does. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if there's anybody that's going to be benefiting from being a Nepo baby, I will sign her up immediately.
Real quick, right?
Right. I just don't want her going through the same struggles. Like, she can have the same you know, earn your keep type of thing, go through, you know, the indie, so you can get that whole perspective of love for passion for the art form. But just straight shot, like, girl, get on up there, second generation.
No,
If
seriously.
that's what you want to do, then cool.
That's what white people do all the time. I love when if we're in a position to do it.
Yeah, anything to keep her away from Hollywood.
See, the more you say it, because if she has even an ounce of what she does, of your personality,
she has like all the personality. Both of our are like athletics, and like, but none of the Crohn's. So she's gonna go far.
Yo, Swole.
Right. I'm just, you know, I always say, you know, if Crohn's wasn't there, my thorn in my side, like Paul said, then, you know, I'd be unstoppable. But, you know, gotta leave room for everybody else.
Right. So speaking of,
I'm sorry, I just have to say, just being, just having a daughter, like, she's gonna soar even higher, because she's just like, look what my parents accomplished, look what my mom was able to, you know, work through, and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I know you don't want her to go into Hollywood, but sports entertainer and the Hollywood, you know, it's kind of goes hand in hand.
It kind of does. Kind of does. You know, that's why we're shooting for infamy, not, you know, famous per se. You know, now if this next year comes around and we all super famous, everybody getting licks. But
yeah, you have to.
But, you know,
as they should.
Like, you know.
So I always wanted to know this, Chris. I don't know what question you were going to ask yet, but I would love to know how you and Cedric met and how it was having the same like career. Because you hear like especially indie wrestlers, like I've been seeing like how messy it could get, and how some of the male stars could be jealous of like the female ones, depending on like whose career is getting, you know. So how was it, first of all, finding the one on the indies, and then like how was it working together?
Well, when we first, to answer your first question, when I first met Cedric, it was in not Charlotte, Concord, North Carolina. And I went to a pro wrestling Evo show, and I was taking my best friend there, Robin, and because we worked together at GameStop, and he was like, "Can you just take me to the show? Everybody's canceled on me. I really gotta go." And I was like, "Okay, you know what? I love wrestling. I'll watch." So I put on, just tomboy type clothes. I'm ragging it up right now, and a Marvin the Martian hat, and I'm gone. I'm in my car, which is the Acura TSX straight six, and he tells me the address. I put it in. It's 3 hours away.
That's
And
why
he
everybody
don't.
canceled on you, because it's 3 hours away.
It's 3 hours away, but that's on me for not asking where exactly it was, because it was like late in our shift. So I was like, whatever, being a friend, you know. And he don't drive stick shift. So I drove him there. I'm already tired. I'm already upset. And then I hear this man with this high pitched voice yelling, and then I see his booty. My
That'll do it.
God in heaven. I see the most miraculous ass I've ever seen on a grown man in my entire life. And he just, when I tell you, I was like, damn, who is that? Now, I talked to my friend and I was like, Robin, who is that? Introduce me or whatever. And I know what I look like right now. I know I just look basic as hell. And but I'm still like, I'm very confident. I'm like, oh, I got to know what this feels like in the morning. So so I talked to Robin. I'm like, Robin, what's up with him? And he was like, oh, he's a superstar. He's on ROH TV. I know what the hell ROH was. Okay. I'm an assistant manager at the GameStop.
Beat him.
Right. And well, not assistant, but like just regular third key manager. And he's like, no, he's on his way somewhere. He ain't got no kids. This, that, and the third. Just piping him up. And I was like, they ain't got shit to do with me. All I'm trying to do is lay this dude down. That's
Period.
it. I'm just trying to get this man on his backside. That's all. I'm not worried about his career. I'm not trying to see where he's trying to go. I'm not trying to even keep on to him. I'm just trying to lay him down and get out. And so I stole his number out of his phone because I was like, I'm leaving here with him.
Right.
I'm leaving.
I drove 3 hours.
How it's gonna be worth it.
Hello, 3.5 there, and then 3.5 back at night.
And it's only you.
It's only you. After the show, no, we're not going to Applebee's. No, we're not going to Chili's. We're going to stop at the Sheets. That's a superior Wawa for those who don't know. We're going to stop at the Sheets, and then we're going to go home.
We're going to go home. We're not.
Because I'm tired, and I got a shift tomorrow.
Oh, man.
It'd be that. It'd be that.
Oh, my gosh.
Can I also say that's the shit you do in I don't know how old you were, but mid to late 20s. I couldn't imagine doing that now.
Not late 20s, early 20s.
Getting off of work, driving somewhere back and forth, going to work the next day. That I'm already like,
that's early to mid 20s. Once them late 20s, you 30. You can't do that. No.
So I still his number. We start talking, texting back and forth, and I'm like, oh, hey, I'll see you at the next show. And then we stopped talking for a couple weeks. I volunteer my services again.
You just have to be mentally prepared to do the job. That's all.
To be mentally prepared. So, and then I come in there with, my little low-rise jeans, because that was the style back in the day. And, boots with the fur, everything, whole nine. I was in there. And I saw him, and I definitely snatched him up that night. He had a little friend that was a girl that was around, but they weren't right. They weren't official. So I try my best not to step on anybody's toes, but they weren't official. So I was like, you know what, you're mine now. Period. And then next thing you know, he's driving from ROH Baltimore all the way home after doing like a 2-3 day taping, and then as soon as he gets home, he repacks and then drives all the way to Goldsboro to come see me for a day and a half. Oh my gosh, he was so tired. And he would like come and back and forth and do indies and stuff. Sometimes for like $10 and like a Mountain Dew and a hot dog and a handshake, and we'll see you next month.
Wow.
Because he knew that he was going to be able to see me and stuff. And it was wrestling outside. Child.
Wait,
So
I love
you just living in that glory, wrestling
Yep.
outside,
Right.
sweat, listening,
Right.
everything. You was hot.
I was out there. I was out there, you know, wooting my man.
I have to know what you tell other wrestlers that are literally doing what you're describing, wrestling for, you know, not a lot of money and having to travel and all of that. Like, what's that one thing that you would tell them that you wish like you knew or like Cedric knew to keep y'all going?
I guess it's nothing that we didn't already know. I guess it was more so I was speaking life into him, because I'm a firm believer that the power of life and death is in the tongue. It's about how you speak. It's about your mental, your mind, your spirit. You know, what you hold up here is going to project out into your outer reality. I tell AJ all the time, your inner reality affects your outer reality. It's not the other way around, and don't ever let it be that. So it was almost to the point where I was delusional. And I was like, if anybody's got us, God's got us, and we're going to make it. There is no other option. There's only this option. I think there's this rapper, I think it's called Nate or NL or something like that. But he says, I got to make it or make it. These are the options. That's it.
I love that.
You know? So what I would tell people is keep that dream up here and see it through in your mind first. You know, be totally delusional in your ability or in your significant other's ability to make it, you know, because they will.
I love that. I love that so much. And so we've had conversations, or we've been in Ron's space on Twitter when it was lit.
Yeah.
And you
oh, what happened to those?
Those
was lit.
Ron got a real job, and we had
couldn't have coffee with us no more.
Not a real job. Boo.
He got a real job. He a police officer now, or something.
Okay, police officer. No product placement.
Right,
right, fair. But I love how, you know, you said in the beginning that you was pouring into him and the affirmations and things that you give him. What was he the same way when you decided, okay, I want to do this wrestling thing with you too? Like, what was his initial reaction to it?
He told me, I don't want you doing this unless you are sure. Wrestling means so much to him. It's all he's ever done. Like he tells people all the time that he's never necessarily had a real job. And except for this is his career, you know. And when it was my turn, he was just as supportive. And he was just like, okay, if you're going to do this, you're going to do this right. You're going to train with me. And, you know, you're going to train with Caleb Conley. You're going to train, of course, with George South. And you're going to do this. And you're going to put everything you got in there. And literally 3 times a week, we would, you know, pushing AJ in her stroller. And she'll sit there while we're training and stuff. And I don't really know or see how she do it, because we definitely didn't have any or think to have any earmuffs or nothing. Like, you know, we're just young and just silly. And then, you know, if there was some grandma over there, you better put something on that baby's ears, you know, like
there's always
and
one.
then it's like, oh shit, I didn't even like think about that.
Right. Now I thought about that when I got on the plane with it. I was like, oh, you know, but I didn't think about it because of all the noise. I just think, oh, we're just going to training at High Spots. And so, but he was very, very supportive and attentive to anything and everything that I needed. He got me my first gear. He designed my first gear.
Ooh,
nice. You know, like, yeah. So,
what was the gear like? Yes.
Come on,
because I'm so curious.
We get exclusive over here. Okay, y'all.
We
Oh my God.
definitely got the exclusive.
Are
But
these
I love
all
that.
are these all kick pads? Oh my gosh.
I can only
Those are
imagine
all
how much
those are
wrestling
all
gear
kick
is
pads.
just
Holy
all
crap.
around Big Swole
Yeah.
and Cedric's house.
Oh my
Right. Just
no, I'm telling you, this shit is everywhere.
Just like, oh, gotta get on the road. Let me grab
just grab
something.
something real quick. These like it match. Let's just put it together. Let's
Right?
do it.
Like, oh, kick back.
You know what? I'm sorry. I thought I had it. He must have put it up somewhere because I can't.
Did he
These
do
are all.
a good job, or were you like, thanks?
No, he did it. He did a fantastic job.
Oh,
He actually
and
did a
good taste.
great job of like doing the gear. Oh, it's funny enough. Is this one of them? No, it's not. Dang it! I thought I had it, but no. He did a fantastic job. It was very similar to his, and it had like this Transformers type of feel to it. But it was really cool.
That's cute.
I'm gonna have to find it and then just post it and be like,
Oh, please.
This is what
tag,
we were
tag
talking
you
about.
guys.
This is what we were talking
Yeah,
about.
What a nice
find it.
memory. I
Yeah,
love
I
that.
love that. I love that for real. So
Yeah, he's
now
very, very
you're
sweet.
now you're into the
Not like
swing
a
of
supportive
wrestling. You know, you're into the swing of wrestling. You've been in multiple promotions. From of course WWE, you was in AEW. We saw you win your very first title at the first Jobber Slam. We gotta pull up that video of us busting the electric slide.
Yes. I think I went through trying to find it and then I just like never found it.
We're gonna have to find that. I'm definitely gonna put that in the social post for those who don't know what we're talking about. But being that this episode is about you having Crohn's disease, when was the first time you remember experiencing something was off before you was even diagnosed?
Before I was even diagnosed, it was my freshman year. So we're looking at 2015. No, excuse me. No, I wasn't about to say 2015 like I'm that young. Period. I'm like, wait, when did I graduate? That's a dang on shame. So it was 2008.
That's me too. We was freshmen in 2008. It's okay.
Right.
It's we all the same age up here. It's fine.
2000. I was like, dang, that's a long time ago. 2008. 2008. It was 2008, and my stomach was just something was wrong. I knew something was wrong. It was October 2007. No, it was right after graduating high school. Bro, I had a great summer. Everything was Gucci. I started my freshman year, August 2007, and I got sick. I got real sick, and then I dropped weight. I dropped 30 pounds in 1 month of October.
Wow.
And they just kept saying it's ulcers. You have ulcers inside of your body. And I was like, okay, 18. I don't know what the hell an ulcer is. Like,
Right. If the doctor tells you that, you're gonna be like, okay.
Right. I'm like, okay, fix it. Get in there and fix it. And of course, 18, you're fresh, you're just barely about to get off of your parents' insurance type of, situation. And the next year came through, and I remember going to the doctor. I remember being deathly sick. And I remember blood was coming out of all of my orifices.
Oh, wow.
And my dad was like, you look like death. And he's a pastor. So when he said that, I was just like, okay, but I was really tired. I was like, I just want to lay down. Mom, I'm just going to go to sleep. I'm going to take a nap. I told her I was going to take a nap like 3 times. And then she asked me, you sure you don't want to go to the hospital? Are you sure? And then she's like, Ariel, are you sure? And I was like, you know what? Let's just go to the hospital. Because I was like, tired of asking me. I wanted to get her off my back. I want to just go. And then they just tell me it's ulcers and I'll be fine. I go up in that mug and they're like, oh, we have to do emergency surgery on you, or on your intestines are about to burst. So my small intestines was swallowing my large intestines. And so I had a 1.5 foot of my intestines taken out. They said that I had the worst version of Crohn's disease, which is called toxic megacolon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh. So if you would have went to sleep and took your nap,
I
it
would
would
have
have
took
you,
the long nap.
yeah, the longest nap. Yeah. Shout out to your mama.
The
Right.
way you are
That's
able to
discernment.
find humor in everything, I so admire that about you because, like, it's just, I'm like, wait, am I supposed to be laughing right now?
I have to make it funny because like I've been through a lot of crap, and leading up into this point, like I've been paralyzed from the neck down, I've what was that? I've been like struck by lightning, this is all before 18. So I was just like, okay, this is just another thing, not knowing the whole entire journey that would be happening,
Right.
afterwards.
So being that they kept saying that you had ulcers, right?
Hmm.
I know now we as Black women don't feel safe in hospitals, especially when it comes down to giving birth, the maternity rates, we don't feel safe in hospitals. Did you feel like that at that time? Like you were being misdiagnosed, or you wasn't feeling safe, or they were just trying to tell you anything to get out of there? Or was it just like, all right, find out what's wrong with me so I can go home and go to sleep type situation?
Absolutely, because no doctor actually gave me a CT scan. A CT scan would have showed immediately what was happening. So I got diagnosed with ulcers just from them looking from the outside. Like, oh, this is exactly what's happening. And me just being young and uneducated at the time about health issues in general, I was just like, oh, okay, that's how you do it. You can just look at me and do a stool sample and be like, yep, it's ulcers, and then I can move on about my day, take a pill, and I'll be perfectly fine with it. I wish that on both parts, myself and the doctor would have did our due diligence and actually looking into the issue further, so that I wouldn't have had a such a catastrophic entry into Crohn's disease.
That's such a good point too, and I hope like people listening to this can ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Because the fact that you even knew like what exam or I guess procedure that they didn't do that they should have did, like just hearing that is educating people on, because like you said, like we're not treated the same in hospitals, Black women especially. Like we're like, oh, it's something where they feel like we can handle it all. So it's like you're not going to further investigate. You're going to give me some meds and be like, oh, you'll be fine. And it's like, no, let's take that, extra step. So I love that you're very informed on everything that's going on.
So when you first got diagnosed, right, was this something that you was ashamed of? Did you feel like, all right, now all the things that I had planned that I wanted to do, I can't do? Or did you feel like, I'm going to beat this, I'm going to combat this, I'm still going to pursue whatever I put on that list to pursue, and nothing's going to stop me?
Well, I went through a back and forth. I mean, I can't even sugarcoat it. I definitely felt like it was a season that I was attacked spiritually, physically, mentally. I would have to like just listen to gospel music, kind of just change my vibration and frequency from there on. I didn't know what I was doing as far as changing that aspect of life, but I knew that I had to surround myself with something that was going to make me feel positive and full of light, because it was definitely a dark time. Because after the surgery, I had to learn how to walk straight again for the second time, or a third time in my life. Baby paralyzation, and then this because of the staples and stuff. I was so hunched over from being in the hospital for so long that like they were like, you're gonna have to stretch this out, and it's gonna be painful. So it was definitely difficult. I wouldn't say it was the most difficult time in Crohn's disease. At the time, I didn't think it could get any worse than what I was going through, because the thing that no one tells you is that after you're done getting the procedures, because I was in and out of the hospital for like a month afterwards, you go home, you have a nurse if you're lucky. They give you a hydrocodone, say take this 30 minutes before your nurse comes. The hydrocodone doesn't do anything when they're packing the areas, especially the intimate areas, with gauze, and then they have to take the strips out. You know what gauze does to like flesh? It just sticks.
Yeah. So the ripping and
the ripping and a Vicodin or even a morphine pill, lower tab, tramadol. I've been on them all. Like they do absolutely nothing for the like at home process. You just have to grin and bear it and just pray that it's over quickly.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man. For you to have to. So wait, you were pregnant first and then was diagnosed, or you was
No,
diagnosed?
I was diagnosed beforehand. They
Okay.
told me when after the diagnosis that I wouldn't be able to have children and that it would be very, very hard for me to conceive because of the severity of like my GI tract and like my body and how much inflammation was growing inside of my body.
So when you got pregnant, one,
Mm.
we know she's a miracle, honestly.
Oh, oh
Two,
yeah.
yeah, she's definitely a miracle baby. Two, did you do the research before, you was just like when you found out you was pregnant, like did you do the research? Like did you just switch up your diet? Because I know pregnancy will cause like cravings and things you probably would never normally eat. You want to eat all the time. So
Hmm.
what was your diet like, given the fact that you had to not only deal with carrying life inside of you, but still dealing with the effects of your Crohn's disease?
It was difficult because I was hard headed. I was a hard headed person. I did not. I listened to the doctors, but I didn't do my own research. And it was just surprising because I'm very heavy at like trying to do my own research now. Um, and so I remember eating what I wanted to eat and like having those cravings and just eating, but like trying to make it so I'm not eating so much dairy. I'm not eating, like everything in large quantities and stuff.
Right.
Uh, but that was, of course, during a time where the doctors really didn't know what somebody with Crohn's disease is supposed to eat. Everybody that is diagnosed with this, or anybody who's basically eating, just living, we're all different.
Hmm.
And I feel like some doctors, most doctors, aren't thinking about that when they're telling them that this is what you should be eating. Because I've read the books during that time, and I was like, oh, I can still eat and have milk, or I can still do this and this and have this. Not, thinking that this is a one cure all. This is what everybody with Crohn's disease needs to be doing for their gut, which is a complete fallacy because you're supposed to do your own research and you're supposed to be, eating for your blood type and figuring out what you can tolerate.
So what were some of the foods that you essentially had to cut out for your diet?
Oh man. So I was like, so no cow products. So I
No
can,
beef and
yeah, yeah, no cow products, no cheese or anything like that. So I'm like non-dairy. I can have eggs.
Hmm.
So eggs is still good. And the only meat that I eat is like salmon, trout, cod, um, turkey. I eat a lot of turkey. And a Cornish hen every once in a while. I can't have actual chicken because
Hmm.
I have my hydrochloric acid in my stomach. I don't produce enough.
Mm.
That's another thing that I found out on my own that doctors didn't tell me is that I don't have enough hydrochloric acid to be breaking down those tough meats. So while in most books it'll tell you, oh, you can have chicken, you can have, or maybe, on this side you can have lamb and stuff like that. I couldn't have none of that. So not a lot of fried
So
stuff
you went through
either.
a lot of trial and error.
A lot of trial error. It was like maybe I'll say 8 or so years where I couldn't have salads because the harshness of the vegetables by itself. Every vegetable I ate had to be cooked or steamed.
Mm.
I could not have them raw. Like I could not have raw fruits or raw vegetables at all. So it just took like some time, kind of like healing the gut piece
Hmm.
by piece by piece. So now I'm able to have salads, and now I'm able to have fruit and
So
so
what
forth.
about like the acidic foods? So, like the tomatoes or like the fruits, like the
No,
grapefruits or oranges, or you can't have
grape
nothing with acid.
grapefruits and oranges are okay, but tomatoes no.
Okay, so no ketchup. I mean, I'm not a ketchup person either, so yeah. Um,
So I'm
Usually
curious.
I make a lot of my own stuff at home.
That's
Not
the
on the
safest
level
bet,
of like
probably.
trad wife type thing, but I do make a lot of everything from scratch here.
Yeah. That's how I am too
Nice.
now. Like,
Hmm.
first of all, food is too expensive outside. Because what?
That part.
It's,
Who
it's
you telling?
expensive.
It
Like,
That
is.
part.
It is expensive, and I don't
yeah.
know. I can't get down with it. And I guess that's just because of the background, and everything that Seth and I went through and stuff. Like, even though
Mhm.
we are very fortunate
Mm-hmm.
right now and moving forward, with his position and stuff like that, I'm still looking at the prices like,
Right.
now what about somebody who can't afford this?
Okay. Like,
Like, I'm
That
always
part.
constantly thinking about that. Like, totally off topic, but even like with like voting, definitely voted against our own pockets.
So
Because
dumb.
I'm just like, how can I sit here and reap the benefits of whatever amendment when it's going to take away from somebody else?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So lower the prices, y'all. That's all I got
Yeah,
to
I was
say.
gonna ask
Right.
you
We
about
all just
that.
trying to survive out here. So
It's
I did
hard.
have a question just seeing about the trial and error, having a family, you and your husband both grinding for your careers. How was it pursuing wrestling, going through all of this?
It was tough, especially when the pandemic hit. Um, I was on a very good stride because I had just got over this thing called the nightmare virus. Uh, and I was like pushing and trying to get signed and stuff like that. And everything was good for us until my health just went completely down. The pandemic happened and I couldn't take my medicine anymore, like not without paying 12,000 every 6 weeks.
Oh my god.
And no, nobody was paying us enough for us to go in that much of a debt, you know, which is crazy because now my medicine is 9,000 every 6 weeks, and then we're just like, okay, okay, well, that's fine, but
That works.
that's fine, better than 12.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but it started to get really, really, really tough once my health started to decline, and then Odessa started saying that she missed her parents because I was
Mm-hmm.
gone because Dynamite was on Wednesday. So we go on Tuesday to Thursday, or Wednesday to Thursday, and then Cedric's gone either Thursday or Friday because that was when house shows were going on still, and he
Mm-hmm.
was on Raw, so he'll come back home Tuesday.
So it's like y'all
He
was like
Yeah.
high and buying each other. Y'all
right.
wasn't
Well,
yeah.
sometimes we would literally go ahead and see each other at the Dallas airport. That was always like our meet cute.
That meeting
For
point,
some
yeah.
reason, is that we'll meet at the McDonald's at Dallas airport and just say hey to each other
Mm-hmm.
until I see you in a couple days. Even though I haven't seen you in quite a few, especially when they started doing the overseas tour, it just got too much. It was
Mm-hmm.
so much. Like, I get it that I have dreams and ambitions and stuff like that, but my child comes first,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
1,000%.
And if that wasn't already a sign, my health was already declining rapidly, to the point where my joints were swelling up and I couldn't walk again.
Oh wow.
And I would have to like fake the funk or get it wrapped right before a match. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, it already felt unethical a little bit to me that I was just like, oh, let me just go ahead and put on this show and just do what I
Mm-hmm.
need to do,
Right.
instead of just addressing the issue and just be like, he didn't want to be seen as somebody who couldn't go out there and perform or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it kind of just got turbulent.
Is that the stigma though? Like when, especially like in a newer promotion, because when 2019 is when AEW started and then the
Hmm.
pandemic happened. So is that the stigma? Like when you have a health condition and a fairly new promotion and you feel like you're on this climb and then all of a sudden something tragic happens, but you have to fake the funk because you're scared like they're going to be perceived one way or not strong enough or, not built for this industry, especially because you're a woman. Was
Hmm.
that kind of what you was feeling around that time as well?
Yeah, yeah, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that, and I can just only say this personally, but I think that for most of the part, it is projection,
Mm-hmm.
because in this world, there's a lot of places where if you even mention a weakness or you even have an issue, there's going to be a problem with the higher ups. And that's just not even just seen in like art form, just seen in corporate as well. So I just feel like it's more of an ingrained thing. when it
Yeah.
comes, especially when it becomes two wrestlers, because you don't want anybody necessarily taking your spot, or you don't want to lose the spot that you already have because you're already going through these issues. I mean, it's one thing to have a solid career in the indies, you finally get signed, and then boom, something happens,
Something happened. So
and
being that you're very
nobody wants that.
right. Being that you're very spiritual and you was going through these things, because as Christians, sometimes we can ask God for something and we be like, can you give us a sign that we shouldn't be doing this? So, and then that the sign comes not in the way that we want it. So we just like, yeah, that's not from God. That's the enemy trying to attack. Was it times that you felt like that when you was going through these things?
Yes, absolutely. Because I knew that I was already on borrowed time, because when I was sick before I got signed to AW, I literally just asked, I was like, please, Holy Spirit, let me just get 2 years. That's all I asked for. I was like, I just need 2 years so I can do it, complete my bucket list, just keep me healthy enough to continue. And I had that solid year on the indies, and then the solid year at AW. And I guess when things started to go downhill, that's where I saw all the, I guess, negative signs. And I'm just like, no, there's no way. There's no way. And then you see the big sign at the end, you're like, all right, maybe there is a way, and I need to leave.
Right. So I have to address the whole when you were in AEW and the nonsense that TK has said about you when you were like on your way out.
Yeah.
So we know that, of course, your health came into play. And one, I'm just like, from a perspective of one, you're not gonna talk about my friend that way because we know what it is. But two, from a fan perspective, knowing like your ability, knowing how you move and work in the ring, and knowing what your work ethic is, how did you honestly feel when he was just like, oh yeah, you wasn't basically good enough, or you wasn't trying to live up to whatever the nonsense that he said? Like, what were your initial thoughts, and then how did you change that mindset around?
You got laundry in there? You got laundry?
I don't know. I just muted it because I don't know what was happening.
No. So initially, I didn't even see the tweet. Like Faye had to text me and was like, "Don't say nothing. don't even interact with it. This, that, and the third." I was like, "What the hell are you talking about, girl?" So I saw the tweet. I was just like, nah, why are you lying?
Right.
Because I knew the truth. We literally just had a exit interview, which is recorded. And I was like, so we got the evidence of what was said, because I even asked him personally, because I said, I'm not resigning because this is a lot of stress, and you guys have put me in this position of stress, and there's no structure here, period. And he's like, I was like, is there anything on your end that you don't, you wouldn't want me to resign? And he was just like, I was like, was it my work? He's like, no, your work is perfectly fine. Actually, I would love if you go out into the indies, do your best, and come back. That was what was said. And it was said in front of him, it was said in front of Christopher Daniels, and it was said in front of Mega something, whatever, the HR lady. So I was like, I saw the tweet and I was like, dude,
that's so whack.
Like, the flesh definitely wanted to like take that little recorded part of the exit interview and just put it out there, but like, you lying ass. But I was just like, you know what? I don't have to fight this battle, because I know for a fact that the Most High don't play about me. That's one thing I know without a shadow of a doubt, is that Spirit don't play about me. So when I was getting all of those, the horrible racist comments, the death threats, the stuff coming towards my daughter and my family and stuff like that, I was just like, okay. Okay, because I guarantee you, when everything is over, I'm still going to be on top. Like, I live in a very comfortable life. I have peace, I have joy, I have love, I have happiness. Look, I got money. Like, praise y'all. Like I am I am living great without, a care in the world, just enjoying my loved ones, and I'm peaceful, and I've done it, you know.
Right. Been on live
I've
TV.
done
Like
it. Right.
yeah, you've had a nice career to look back on, and then you're also not missing those pivotal years in your
Right.
daughter's life that you really can't get back,
Really not. I honestly feel like I'm like Captain Jack Sparrow of wrestling. You have heard of me. I am very infamous, whether you like it or not. And I'm going to be around because I get to be in the mix, because most of the wrestlers that I do talk to, we cool on that personal level. And I feel
Mhm.
like that's just one of those things that most people just can't take. It's
You kind
because,
of have the best of both worlds because you
right,
can travel, you could go to all the shows if you want to, you could
right.
bring your daughter if you want to, you have connections still.
No
But you don't
bumps.
got to take a bump.
I ain't got to take a
Yo,
bump.
you got it good, Swole.
I ain't gotta take a bump. I'm like, listen, it's funny because they're just like, what are you gonna come back? Are you gonna come back? And he's just been like just poking the bear. And
Mm.
I'm like, listen, babe, if you a millionaire, a cheeseburger gonna taste like a cheeseburger.
Either
So
way.
That's so true.
I'm not finna, I'm not coming back because we need funds or anything like that. It'll just strictly be for the love of it all. I mean, and I was like, and he's like, you don't have to do full time if you don't want to. I was like, man, they better call me to be somebody general manager so I can tighten up the ship or
Okay.
something. I was like, cause
Okay.
Ooh,
I was
you
about
would
to
be
mention
such a
that.
fun general manager.
Yes.
no,
I was about
yeah,
to mention that.
I was like, call me for on air personality. I was like, please don't try to call me to bump. I was like, because while I can bump, I'd rather not because of my body, unless you want to call me for the rumble or something to get my little spot in, and then I'm out. but but
Right.
otherwise, put me on the
Give me a
money.
microphone.
You
please.
are a good MC.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
you were MCing Wale Mania this year.
Hey,
Yeah. And did
listen,
you do the Rumble in
I did
Tampa? That was
for Mega
dope.
Ran.
Yes,
Yes,
that
it
was
was at the
dope.
Battle Rumble. hmm That was
That
that
was
was a lot of fun. Big
mm-hmm.
shout out to Mega Ran. Big shout out to
Yeah.
Wale
I
and
hope he does
Cass and
that
Emilio.
again. I like
Yeah.
when
Thank
hip
you.
hop and wrestling come together.
I I
It's a
think he
really cool
said that he
thing.
was going to, and Cedric and I said that we were going to try to hit more of the big four, at least
Nice.
vacation wise, because we do spend a lot of our time in the house, and we don't want Uncle Sam to keep trying to take our money, because
Right.
we don't be spending money like that. So
That part.
gotta
Y'all
be something.
deserve it. Y'all deserve
I
it.
deserve it. I've been through
You
a lot.
know?
So how was
Right.
it now? Now that you know, I don't know why I wasn't watching NXT that day. Now I can't because they're gonna put moving on CW and I ain't got cable. I got Sling, so that's neither here nor there. But I remember seeing the tweets when said first came on to NXT. It was between you and Lovely are like Siamese twins
We
on Twitter.
are.
I
We
love.
are.
On
We are
Twitter.
like the same person.
You have a lot of the same mannerisms
Yes.
too. Like as you were
It,
talking, I was getting lovely sometimes.
it 1 + 1 is 1 because of
Mm-hmm.
duality.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Not two.
that's us, not
Well,
2, but 1 on my
But,
Terrence
right.
Howard shit. 1 + 1
Right.
is 1.
But yeah, how was that transition now? Like you was talking about not having to take a bump. Like, girl, you live in your soft girl mommy era right now. Like, how
Hello.
was that when he got that call? Like, all right, you're not gonna be on main roster, you're gonna go back down to NXT. How did he take that and how did you take that?
Oh, we loved it. It's he wanted to go to NXT
Mm-hmm.
because he just wants to wrestle.
hmm.
I've never seen somebody so pure of heart when it comes to art
Mm-hmm.
in this way, where he eats, sleeps, breathes wrestling. Like he has a love for it and a respect for it that I don't know, it's unfathomable sometimes to me, because he's so pure hearted when it comes to wrestling. So when they called him up for NXT, because he's been in people's ears, like, hey, let me come wrestle, let me come wrestle. And they probably called him, he was like, hell yeah, let's do this. The only thing now he doesn't like is his drive because he's been traveling and wrestling for, was it 15 years or so? Like he's just been doing it. But he absolutely loves it. And I love it too because he's just right there. He can come immediately back home. I can put out my little nasty tweet, and then by the time he come home,
ooh, I love that for you, sis.
He was like, so what was you saying?
Right.
Back up what you were saying online.
He'll come in the house and be like, so
ooh.
So what was that?
Y'all are my favorite couples,
For real.
And y'all are so like humble, like such nice
baby.
people.
No, not. We're not humble. We grounded.
Grounded. That's a much better word.
We think very highly of ourselves.
I love that. I love that.
You should. I think you should, but
very much so.
I think when Pete said humble is more so like y'all don't feel like y'all too big for y'all britches, in the sense of like y'all didn't get all this money and then get big heads and forgot where y'all came from.
No.
Yeah, like y'all don't do that.
Of course not. Of course not. And it's like we've seen this. We've seen this in like different people in our family. Like Sergio has like a cousin who was like super big into football, and when he was making and stuff in college and stuff, he didn't have no big head. Like just good down to earth people. Like my auntie, she's in Hollywood. She ain't got no big head. It just calmness. Like we've seen it in other people when they make it to places, and we see how to act and how to react. Like money can change a person, but if you have strong morals, strong values, strong character, you know who you are, then your money's not going to change you. It's just going to enhance who you are.
Yeah, that's true. And I always say, like, as fast as you got that money, you could be taken away even faster.
Hello.
Even faster.
Life is crazy.
Life is crazy.
Like that.
Like that. You half a blink, your money gone. Not even a full blink. Your money's gone. So I don't understand people who feel like they have to be, I got all of this money and this, that, and the third. Okay, so let's see if you still have it in 2 years because of how your attitude.
Exactly. People just forget that, when they receive favor, they think it's for them, for the splendor is for them, but it's really for somebody else. Because, the spirit to have somebody else in mind while it's, showering you with that favor. And if you don't pass it along and pay it forward, like the movie said, then you will lose all of it, like King Solomon.
Don't be up here preaching now, Swole, because I
had chills since the start of this conversation.
I will definitely go into preaching mode, okay? Because I will.
Hello.
Yeah, like you have to. So being that, we know that you paid it forward, with your career, with your sacrifices. How are you paying it forward by the awareness that you bring to others with Crohn's disease and, educating them and also educating your daughter because she doesn't have it, thank God. But, how are you, educating her, especially now with this whole, maybe the elimination of this Department of Education thing that's going to go on, especially because you down in Florida.
I know. Ugh, pray for me.
I will.
When it comes to Crohn's disease, I'm still active as far as in like the channels and helping people that I know that have Crohn's disease. They've reached out to me and stuff, or they'll have ulcerative colitis, which is like the little baby C of the little C. I say like cancer is the big C, Crohn's is the baby C, little C essentially, and then ulcerative colitis is the baby C. But I help people with their health in general because I love his holistic life, life path and stuff like that, and making that lifestyle change. So it's not, I don't just close myself off to people who are dealing with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. I branch out to like, lupus, any kind of autoimmune, anything, even if it's just high blood pressure or, the sugar or whatever, I'm just very forthright with my information that I've learned through reading all these books and stuff like that. And like doing tape study essentially for health reasons and stuff like that. So it's kind of like
getting a Swole holistic cookbook or something. Like,
that's a great idea.
Yeah, maybe it has been on my heart to do a cookbook. I have been writing some things, my own little memoir in a sense of just kind of positivity, just like a brief explanation of what I've been through and how I've gotten through it, and how I just continue to keep smiling, because that's kind of like our family motto is keep smiling through it all. And I do want to put out that cookbook because I have so many recipes, and like my recipes aren't just vague. I'm a very like detailed person when it comes to this, so I'm telling you what the product you need. I may not be super big on measurements. I'll put the measurements on there, but it's the product that's the difference. Because, like I said, I've been in this position where I've had to deal with this Crohn's disease, and luckily enough, Cedric has his career so that I can buy this expensive ass cheese and tell you if it's nasty. So you ain't spending $6.48 on this nasty cheese. So yeah, it's so far I have all of my recipes written down. It's just transferring them over.
When you said that, in my mind, I promise you, in my mind, just now you said that, it was like Tabitha Brown collaboration. I promise.
Yes.
Yeah, same vibes.
Yeah, I would love to do something like that. Have like some sort of kitchen where I could meal prep for people that have these certain problems. So I don't want to put my whole entire idea out there because I don't want nobody to steal it.
Right? No.
But like I just have this idea to help people and with their health journeys, with their lifestyle changes. I try not to use like the word diet. And a lot of people are against that word. You hear diet and it's just like the plague.
Right.
But lifestyle change is easier to digest.
And I think it'll be more easier to digest coming from one Black woman to a next, because like we said earlier, Black women, we already know Black women are the most unprotected, disrespected human on the planet, like species on the planet. But for it to be translated from one to a next and be like, oh, it can resonate much, much better, because instead of like a white woman telling me, or a white man telling me, or a person who doesn't look like me telling me that I have this and the third, because one, I already don't it builds that trust level.
Right. I feel like we don't have enough of our people saying it, because it goes for everybody. If I was Asian, I trust an Asian person, with the holistic medicine and stuff like that, then I would anybody else, because I need somebody that look like me telling the story so that I can relate. It's the same thing with watching Disney princesses. I need to relate to the story, or playing a video game. I need to relate. How can I relate to this story? How can I relate to this person that is essentially selling me stuff? So that's what they're doing. They're selling you something, but what I'm selling you is whole health.
So what is a walk us through what a Big Swole refrigerator looks like right now?
Ooh, lots of oranges, lots of fruits, because I like to do a lot of things with cucumbers, man.
I will
sit down and eat a cucumber whole when
Me too. Just shave the skin off.
I done put this thing in vinegar, like I done clean this thing off. I'm eating it whole, or I'm making like a cucumber salad, or I'm putting it, just sitting it in vinegar. You know how the old folks do with the vinegar and the
You're gonna pickle it up real quick.
Yeah, pickle it up real quick. Yeah. Hella sauces. Cedric gets on me about the sauces. There's no room in my sauce area.
I love that.
There is a sauce fiasco going on here. It's crazy.
And they're all homemade?
No, not all of them. I do have a nice little mixture, and I try to keep it as organic as possible, because when I'm in the grocery store, I'm looking at the back. It takes me a while to shop. I know what I'm in there for, but I got to look at the back if I'm buying something new that I haven't already, memorized the ingredients for.
Right.
But chia puddings at the top, like gotta make that. Lots of pickles, banana peppers, kimchi, almond milk, 100% juices only. I'll do that from concentrate crap.
Yeah.
Let's see, Northland, one of my favorite cranberry juices.
Really?
Got it. Yeah, that's right there. And a lot of meal prep. So another reason why, of course, I had to, lay it down for a minute as far as when it comes to wrestling, is that we just work better if I'm at home and able to do the things that he can't. So I'm meal prepping for both of them because they have different blood type than I do. So they're able to have red meat, AJ and Cedric. And so I meal prep them steak for the whole entire, like maybe 3 days at a time and stuff because I don't want it to go bad. So I make them meals. And then I prep like some snacks and stuff like that. And then I'll have my meal prep meals in there as well, depending on what I'm eating.
What's Thanksgiving like now for you? We got Thanksgiving coming up. Like, what is that like for you?
Thanksgiving is serious. I still do. I make the collard greens with smoked turkey. I do candied yams. I do fried turkey, and I do Cornish hens because he likes to have double meat. I make my dressing, except I make it non-dairy, which is easy. I do a lot of substitutions. So it's the same exact foods, except it's going to be healthier.
I love that. that.
I still have the cranberry sauce and stuff like that, and then I make like the mac and cheese. Said like stovetop mac and cheese because he's weird. And
you gotta do better. Said you gotta be baked.
He's a man.
Listen,
no, he likes stovetop, so give him stovetop. The kid likes stovetop too, Velveeta, but she got this kid taste bud, so I expect nothing less. And then I'll make my mac and cheese, but of course I make it from scratch with a roux because the vegan cheese has to be able to melt. So I told you lots of perfection, and perfecting the actual recipes. So I still throw down for Thanksgiving. Oh, and sweet potato pie. It's sweet potato pie this year. Last year I did a cheesecake and a 4-layer yellow cake with a chocolate frosting because that's what my dad likes. And then did I make key lime that time or no? A pound cake.
You know what? I'm about to book a flight. Just let me know so I can just have my bowl ready.
No, for real though. Anybody who comes to the house, they will let you know that I will feed them. It's something. I tease my one of my best friends, Renee Michelle, about this all the time because she is Susie Homemaker. Man, she's like gourmet. I don't know. Was it Emerald? Yeah, she's like Emerald. She can whip up some things in the kitchen. She's always in the kitchen. I'm like, girl, sit down. But I don't practice what I preach either, so that's why I always be cracking up at her, just running around like a chicken with her head cut off, cooking and stuff like that. Because that's me when people come over, and I'm like, you need anything?
XP, that's me too. People itch it up, like, can you get out? Like,
right. It's Southern hospitality. I already have the meal, especially if you drive it in. You drive it in, I'm making you a meal. I'm making you like some steak and chicken hibachi, steak and salmon hibachi, something that can at least fill you up from the drive or the flight.
So I have another question before we get out of here. I haven't heard you mention any like starches like rice or pastas. Like, does that affect you in a way as well, or you can eat those and that'd be fine?
I can eat those. It's just everything is in moderation. So it can't be, eating potatoes all the time. And then plus I cycle sync my foods depending on which phase of my cycle that I'm on.
Okay.
So like right now it's luteal, so I don't have a lot of carbs.
Okay.
Because my body wants to use the body fat for fuel instead of heavy on the carbs as it's processing going into the monthly starting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Got it. What your workout routine, I'm sure, had to change.
Yeah.
I know you still work out. Like, do you do
I do a little
I mean, besides that, of course.
Still got a little widespread.
But like, have you like tried like other type of workouts like yoga, Pilates, or like?
You said I'm in my soft girl feminine era, and I truly am. Like I am doing the Pilates. I am doing the calisthenics. I'm doing the yoga. I'm doing like about to sign up for bar again because I first love is dance.
My sister loves bar.
Yeah, so I love dance, and I've been a ballerina before, so going back kind of like to my roots of like dancing and stuff like that, just having those things that I do. But yeah, lots of Pilates, lots of calisthenics.
So what's next for Big Swole?
You know what? I wish I knew, but Spirit is just telling me to rest. I went 18 years of having a really good life. A couple health things there and here and there, but these past 18 has, like I said, been turbulent, and it's been very hard. It's been excruciating at times, and now I just get to relax. For it feels like the first time in forever that I get to be in like the present and just kind of figure it out. Like, I didn't think that I was gonna complete everything on my list, before 35, and I did. So now it's just, finding something else. So now I'm just doing things that bring me joy. So, I started like sewing, and so like I'm making different things and such, and instead of trying to put me to work already. I'm like,
hey, can you
on.
take this in real quick?
Right, like he was already doing that. Like, can you fix these asamis for me? And I was already stitching his stuff and everything. So just kind of just doing whatever gives me joy. I mean, I've already been told that if I don't want to work, I don't have to.
That's a blessing right there.
I love that energy.
It really is. It really is. I love my man. Like, I love him.
And to my man. Thank you to my man.
Yes.
Well, we love that. We want to say thank you for coming on, talking about Crohn's disease, talking about how you didn't let it overtake you, and how you're still pushing and moving forward. Like, you are literally the epitome of strength. And I can't wait to see you, because this reunion is long overdue at this point.
Cannot wait to give you a hug.
Right, I know. And this is going to be after my last surgery, y'all. So I'm about to, when I tell you Vegas, man. Yeah, and this
Vegas.
This is it. Like, when
can't wait for Vegas.
For real. I'm about to be in it.
Period. And this is gonna be my first time in Vegas, so y'all gonna have to show me a good time.
Ooh,
really?
That's gonna be fun.
Ooh, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. All I know is that I'm finna come in there, and I'm gonna come out richer. I'm gonna be on a slot machine, like jackpot. I'm gonna be like, what's the little boy from National Lampoon's jackpot.
Be like Will Smith when he walked in the casino backwards and started winning all that money.
Hello.
Period. Okay, you run me.
About to be like Oprah. You get a car.
Okay. Here, everybody gets a car.
Everybody gets a car.
Swole, let everybody know where they can follow you at, where they can find you at.
You can find me, the Big Swole, on Instagram, the Big Swole, on Twitter, Swole World, and on TikTok, Swole World. It should say Auntie Swole right at the top.
We want to say thank you again, Swole, for being a part of this very, very important conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. P, let everybody know where they can find you
at Queen _P.R everywhere.
And for me, I'm Miss Krista B. That's MS_KRISTAB_ on Instagram, and MS_KRISTAB on Twitter. On that note, it's your girl Krista B, Queen P.R, and the lovely Big Swole. And we are out of here until next time. Deuces.
See ya.
Queen P.R, Krista B, those wrestling girls, TWG, Black Excellence, making it effortless. Podcast bringing up women and wrestling. Let's go.